Okay, so the purpose with this little survey interview thing was to see if people were typically taught just the algorithm growing up and didn't really know the math concepts that got them to the algorithm or how that worked the way that it does, or if they actually were taught how you get to the algorithms from doing the math. So I'm going to walk you through the drawing that I did to solve this problem, and then I will show you how you get to the algorithm from that. So we've got our 6 houses, and I divided each of them into quarters because it takes a day to paint 3 quarters of a house. So I did them in these little different direction diagonals, and if you count it out, you can see we've got day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, day 8. So it takes 8 days to paint these 6 houses. So the way that you get to algorithm from here, I don't know if you remember, but the algorithm that people typically learn to solve division of fractions is to take the fraction on the right side of the division sign, and to flip it. So in this case, the math problem for it is 6 divided by 3 quarters, because we've got 6 houses and we're dividing into groups of 3 quarters to see how many groups of those we have. So what it tells you to flip and multiply. So it would become 6 times 4/3. So then the question is, how do we see 6 and 4/3 in this? How do we get from this drawing to knowing that the algorithm works? So first we'll look at how we get 6. So I'm going to write out 6 times 4/3. So to find 6, we've already got 6. So in math, 6 times 4/3 could be spoken out as 6 groups of 4/3. So you can see we do have 6 groups here. We've got the 6 houses. So then we have to find out, how did we get the 4/3? How do we know that when we flip the 3 quarters to 4/3 and multiply that we'll get our answer? Well, if we look, so if each of these, if this is the 6 groups, then one of these would be one group, and it's 6 groups of 4/3. So that would mean that each group has 4/3 in it. So if you look, we can see 4 because there are 4 little squares. But they're grouped by 3s because of the 3 quarters of a house that we can paint in one day. They're grouped in 3s. So if you were to ask the question, how many days would it take you to paint just the one house? You would say, well, it takes 1 1/3 of a day. And because you can see that the first day you could do that square and that square and that square, and then you would need the beginning third of the next day to do the last quarter of that house. So we see 6 groups of 4/3 because in each house it takes 4/3 of a day to paint it. So then if you multiply the 4/3 times 6, you get 8. And that's how the flip and multiply works.